Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Well, it is official, everyone. The 2024 NFL Draft is over. The rookies are now in the NFL, and we are turning the page here on this YouTube channel. I can't talk about 2024 rookies anymore. I've been scouting them for years. I am ready. Let's get into the 2025 draft class. All right. I'm going to do a series of 3 or 4 shows here. I'm going to start off with the running back class. All right. So you play Dynasty, you play Fantasy, and you're looking for a YouTube channel out there that's going to give you an early look, just like this show, shortly after the NFL draft. Hit that subscribe button, all right? I'm going to be doing shows just like this for the quarterback position, wide receivers, tight ends, and a lot of the players we're going to talk about today. I'm going to be doing in-depth scouting reports on this YouTube channel. And just before we get started, if you're interested in getting a database of not only the 2025 NFL draft prospects that are going to hit our Dynasty rosters, but 2026 and 2027, consider supporting the channel and subscribing to my dashboard subscription service. Check out the email below. Hit me up. I'll give you a 2-week trial. I'll have in-depth scouting reports and film reviews on all the players we're going to talk about today. It's a pretty cool product out there, especially if you want to kind of get an early look at some of the future draft classes. So my dashboard subscribers ask me all the time, hey, Brandon, tell me about the 2025 draft class. Is it going to be better than 2024? And I'm going to say, yeah, I think the running back position in the 2025 draft class overall is the strength of the class. All right. We've got a lot of good players that we're going to talk about today. These are not ranks in my dashboard. These are I'm going to do a tiered breakdown of where I could potentially see, where their draft capital might be, but it's going to be 20 running backs that you're going to want to keep your eye on as we slowly approach the 2025 NFL draft. So let's get right to it. Now, a lot of these players are probably, are going to be true juniors. So some of them are going to go back for their senior year. We've seen a trend lately in that, but nonetheless, these are 20 running backs that you need to get on your radar for the 2025 class. Like I said, I'm going to tier them. Let's have some fun. Let's get to it. All right. First and foremost, I think the best player, my RB1 in the class, is Trevan Henderson from Ohio State. Okay. He's going into his senior year, decided to come back for his senior year. There were thoughts that he was going to go to the 2024 NFL draft, but he decided to stay. And he's been an overall my RB1 in Devy. Even going into the 2024 draft, he was my RB1. Was surprised he came back, but hey, here we are. And I think he's going to be probably the RB1 of the class for the majority of people. Now, he's had a roller coaster season at Ohio State. He came out banging his freshman season, averaged 7 yards a carry, was nicked up his sophomore year in 2022, but 2023 he returns from injury, had a really nice season, averaged 6.2 yards a carry, had 11 TDs, had some really good PFF run grades here. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think he's the most explosive, nimble, footwork kind of all-around back in the class. So right now, if I had to make a call, I would have Trevan Henderson as my RB1. And I think here you'll see the tiers on the screen, everyone. I'm going to break them down into 4 tiers. So only 2 guys that I think could warrant round 1 draft capital. And do I feel great about it? No. But I've seen some mocks out there where these 2 players, first, Trevan Henderson, got good size, 5'10", 212 pounds. I think if anyone has a shot, he's going to need to have a great season at Ohio State, all right? But it could be hard because you're going to notice on tier 1 in round 1, right? The guy right next to him, Quintinjins, what we're going to talk about here shortly. He's his running mate here. So we're going to have potentially 2 of the best running backs in college football and 2025 NFL draft prospects playing on the same team, which I don't know. It's been a while since that's probably happened. But let's get to Quintinjins, right? 5'11", 210. He played at Ole Miss for 2 years. He's going into his true junior season. He had 70 missed tackles forced last year. A lot of people were surprised. I mean, there's some off the field maybe comments that he did, and maybe with the coach Lane over there, things didn't work out, and he wanted a new opportunity. Probably NIL money, probably right in today's NCAA running back and college football program. Probably got lured with some cash as well. But Ohio State is going to have a 1-2 punch with these 2 guys. Like I said, do I think there's a day 1 running back in the 2025 class? I don't think so. Not the way the NFL is fading the position unless you are really special. I mean, Breece Hall 2 years ago didn't even get round 1 draft capital. And Breece Hall, I would take over any of the running backs in this particular class. But for this exercise, if there is, I've seen both of these guys mocked in the first round. I think they could potentially be, round one, but most likely round two. But for this particular show, it's early, right? We're at the beginning of May. I'm going to put him here, going to have some fun and put at least 2 running backs on my tier 1. All right, tier 2, rounds 2 and 3. In 2024, we had 4 running backs taken in the second and third rounds. I could see this is where the strength of the class is, right? There's no elite prospect, but there's a lot of good running backs who I think are going to be solid running backs who are going to be a solid part of a committee who might have the option of really being strong contributors and in some cases being the RB1 on their drafted team. First guy I want to talk about is Nick Singleton. Now, there's a lot of projection with Nick Singleton, 6 foot, 226 pounds. My son goes to Penn State, all right? I've been watching Nick Singleton for 2 years, and it's hard to watch, but he was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school in 2022. He goes to Penn State, local kid, high expectations, right? So this is the year, right? He's got to put it all on tape. We've seen the athleticism, we've seen the ability and the flash, but we haven't seen the consistency. And you have to ask yourself, is it more the Penn State offense and the system, or is it the player itself? I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that it is the system and not the player, but I'm going to need to see big things from Nick Singleton this year, because, he only had 8 runs with 163 attempts, only 8 runs for over 15 yards. The Penn State offense was hard to watch, all right? I watched every game, and I was just waiting for that Nick Singleton highlight moment, but it didn't shine. But again, based on his projection, his athleticism, and he's going to have to show me a lot to stay here in this position. Again, in tier 2 here that we're seeing rounds 2 and 3, these are not ranks going across the board. They're just guys all in the same tier. They're all going to need, we're all going to get one more year of football. Much is going to change, but let's have some fun nonetheless. One of the most explosive running backs in college football, Ashton Jenty from Boise State, going into his true junior year. The guy averaged 6.1 yards a carry last year. He's an explosive running back, caught 38 balls out of the backfield as well. Received one of the best receiving grades and running grades from PFF, 4.2 yards, 4.26 yards after contact, one of the best of all the running backs that we're going to talk today. Explosive player. Coming from Boise State in the competition, all right, maybe not the best, but if he can put out another great season, go watch a highlight film of Jenty, man. The guy can move around pretty well, got some great footwork. He's explosive. I can see the way the NFL is drafting running backs. They want fast, speedy kind of guys, and I think Jenty fits that bill. All right, Ollie Gordon, 6'1", 211 pounds, plays at Oklahoma State. He's also going into his true junior season. Had 33 receptions. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He had 29 plays over 15 yards, so he showed some explosiveness in his game. He's got a very awkward running style. His athleticism, I'm not sure warrants a super high draft pick. But he was really productive last year, over 1,500 yards, 20 TDs, and really flashed a little bit. Someone I got to watch a little bit more film on, but there's a lot of people. I've seen Ollie Gordon actually mocked in the first round in a mock draft too on PFF. So for 2025. So there are his believers out there. I need to watch a little bit more film, but I think if he's not an early day 2 guy, he will be maybe a late day 3 guy. But like I said, a lot can change. All right, got another whole year of football. Omarion Hampton, 6 foot, 220 pounds. Going into his true junior year as well, playing at North Carolina, had a great year last year, over 1,400 yards, 6.1 average, 4.37 yards after contact. One of the best, again, of all the players that we're going to talk about here. Caught some balls out of the backfield, 26 receptions last year, so he's not someone who can't catch the ball. He, unfortunately, is going into a bad situation. He's losing Drake May, and they have one of the worst offensive lines apparently coming into the 2024 season. It was bad last year and not much improvement from what I've read and did a little research. So, he's going to have his work cut out for him. He was one of the players I was thinking that might go into the transfer portal, but he's sticking around at North Carolina, should be fed the rock, should be the bell cow. We're going to have to see, he's got some good ability. I want to see a little bit more mobile or lateral movement and better footwork out of Hampton. He's a big kid at 6 foot, 220 pounds, carries a lot on that frame, but man, he's a tough guy to get to the ground and one of the most productive backs in college football last year, and I would expect that again this year, hopefully if the offensive line can open up some holes for him. Trevor Etienne, all right, he's also I think a solid day 2 selection next year if, and that's a big if, he goes to Georgia, okay? He transfers, played 2 years at Florida. He is also a true junior, averaged 5.8 yards a carry last year. 5'9", 213 pounds. I did a lot of films on this YouTube channel. Go check him out on Trevor Etienne. The good, he's got some good footwork. He's got some lateral ability. He's got some explosion. Now he's going to Georgia. I love it. It's like, yes, man, come to the SEC. Well, you're already in the SEC. Come to Georgia. Should get into, get a majority of the carries. Got into a little off the field issues this year, which may ding him from a draft capitals. If people go into his past and they don't like what they see. But, man, he caught 21 balls for 21 targets out of the backfield at Florida last year. So he's got some good hands out of the backfield, too. 4.08 yards after contact. So, again, he is a good player. Really excited to see what he can do in Georgia. All right, the last guy I want to talk about in round 2 or tier 2 in rounds 2 and 3 is Damen Martinez. Played 2 years at Oregon State, also going into his junior year. 6 foot, 232 pounds. You can see a lot of big running backs in this class. I think over 210 pounds. 210 pounds pretty much for every back I've mentioned so far. So we got a lot of running backs, early here in these projections here that have got that size that we are looking for in the NFL. But anyway, he's transferred, man. He is going to Miami. So he's going from the Pac-12. I am always weary of Pac-12 running backs just because of the bad defenses out west. But anyway, he's going to the ACC, now playing in Miami, most likely going to take carries away from Mark Fletcher, who's a running back that we'll probably do for 2026. Who's got some, videos on this channel as well. But this guy didn't really catch a lot of balls out of the backfield, only 11 receptions. So we're going to have to see if he can get an improvement with his handwork, out of the backfield, see if we can get some receptions. As you guys know, in Dynasty, man, this is what we want. We want to, get the guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield. But anyway, exciting opportunity in Miami. Mark Fletcher's coming off an injury, so good chance that he gets the rock a lot down there and could improve his draft stock. All right, tier 3 rounds 4 and 5. Again, this is where the majority of the running backs in the 2024 draft came off the board. We had 12 drafted. In rounds 2 and 3, we only had 4. So I can see rounds 4 and 5 again, being the bulk of where these running backs are going to come off the board, with maybe rounds 2 and 3 us getting 6 or 7 running backs instead of 4. Again, the depth of the class, maybe even more if we don't have a round 1 running back taken. All right, rounds 4 and 5, tier 3. First guy I want to talk about is Jaden Autumn, 6 foot, 200 pounds. Really had 2 good years at Cal. Really good pass catcher out of the backfield. He had 46 receptions as a freshman out of the backfield, but then for some reason in 2023, it went down to 21 receptions. So I'm not sure why that happened, but he's averaged over 5 yards a carry, which is kind of the benchmark barometer. His yards after contact, 3.4, not great, but still an exciting running back. A lot of people are excited about Jaden Autumn. I'm sure, again, if you watching this video, man, I want you to leave comments too. Tell me where you think, guys could be up and down, but I see Jaden Autumn coming from Cal, a round 4 to 5 round draft pick. All right, KRON Allen. Hoping to see a lot of more play from KRON Allen this year. Now, he is Nick Singleton's, running mate up in Penn State. Been watching him also, again, watching all the Penn State games, living outside of Philly here. 5'11", 211 pounds. He's just a good all-around running back. There were games that I watched that KRON Allen looked more nimble than Nick Singleton. And then there were games where Nick Singleton looked better than KRON Allen. And I was going back and forth, driving myself crazy. But KRON Allen, can play ball. And I think in this draft, in the 2025 running back class, he's got an ability to make a name for himself this year. I'm really hoping that there is an improvement in the Penn State offense this year. I believe they got a new offensive coordinator where, they're going to be a running team first and foremost. They don't have a lot of wide receivers. So KRON Allen here, love to see him. He looked better as a freshman than he did as a sophomore, but I said the same thing about Nick Singleton. So like last year, maybe it was a mirage. I don't know. Hoping to see big things out of KRON Allen, and Nick Singleton this year. Devin Neal, 5'11", 210 pounds. He's coming back for his 4th season at Kansas. Now, there were a lot of people that thought that he was going to be a 2024 NFL draft prospect, and he decided to come back for his senior year. So he was a pre-draft darling for a lot of people. There's got a lot of people that think Devin Neal is a top 3 back in this class. I am not one of those people. I've done film reviews on my dashboard, the product I talked to you about at the beginning of the show. I've actually got film reviews on, his profile in my dashboard. He's a good all-around player. I just don't see anything really exciting about Devin Neal. I think he's got some lateral movement, but I question his real play strength. And he averaged, just over 3 yards after contact last year and was in the twos his two years. He can also catch the ball out of the backfield, had 24 receptions last year. He's had an increase of receptions every year. But he's just, I think, a guy that's a really good college player. I don't see a dynamic NFL talent with Devin Neal, although there are many people out there that will disagree with me. But hey, so it makes the world go around, man. We all have our different opinions, right? Donovan Edwards, all right, an exciting running back from Michigan, had a great spring game this year. He was played behind Blake Corum. Blake Corum is now obviously in the NFL. He is coming back for his 4th season as a senior, 6'1", 210 pound. He has really low yards after contact. Looks like he got a little bigger. You watch his spring game, man, from last year. Looks like he worked on those lower legs and, that lower half to build up some strength. And that was the big knock on Donovan Edwards. He ran 3.4 yards a carry last year. He was really known. He came out of the gate strong back in 2021 because he was a pass catching back and people got really excited about him. But I question his ability to run in between the tackles. And again, on my dashboard subscription service, I have a film breakdown on there showing you where I just don't think he runs great in between the tackles. But in any case, this is his year, man, to show it. These guys can improve each and every year. You can't get tape lock on past, film review. So I'm going to be looking forward to Donovan Edwards saying, hey, man, you're getting the rock this year. Let's see what you do with all the full carries and see if you can handle the load. Just think he has questionable vision and play strength that I've watched in the past, but 2024 is a new season. Jordan James, one of my sleepers in this class. I could see Jordan James having a rise, hitting tier 2 from tier 3. 5'10", 205 pound running back. This guy can also catch the ball out of the backfield. Now, Bucky Irving is in the NFL, right? So Jordan James was his sidekick last year, and Jordan James should be getting the full rock load this year, and I could see a big season for him. So, if he gets the ball a lot, this is a name you want to circle. Jordan James, of anyone on this video, Jordan James is a guy that I could see getting a big rise in the NFL draft stock this year. All right. I have Omarion Miller. His name is now Jam, apparently, on all the websites. So Jam Miller, Alabama running back going into his true junior year, 5'11", 210 pounds. I haven't mentioned a back, I don't think, under 100 or under 200 pounds yet, just as a side note. Jason McClellan is in the NFL. Roydell Williams transfers out. They were the 2 leading rushers last year. 3rd leading rusher was Jaylen Miller, the quarterback. And then it was Jam Miller. And I think Jam Miller right now is the RB1 with Justice Haynes. He is an exciting 2026 prospect. I do a video next year. Justice Haynes is going to be at the top of the list. That kid can play. These two are going to be, I think, a 1-2 punch at Alabama. And I'm really looking for Omarion Miller to have a rise this year, man. He flashed a lot in the games that I watched. Averaged 6 yards a carry, as a freshman and as a sophomore. Only got 31 carries, averaged 5.4 yards an attempt. But there was plenty of other players. Jaylen Miller had the ball in his hands, running around like crazy. All right. Nick Saban's gone, whole new thing. Maybe we're going to be running the rock a lot more, and Milroe will be asked to play out of the pocket, which he should if he wants his draft capital to go up at all next year. But Jam Miller, he's another one that might be a little too low on here. All right, tier 4, we're going to run through these real quick, round 6 and 7. In the 2024 NFL draft, only 4 running backs were taken in the last 2 rounds of the NFL draft. That tells you all those undrafted free agent signings, boom, 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 right? They happened right after the NFL draft. A ton of guys that we thought were going to get late day 3 draft capital didn't. The NFL's just passing on these guys, knowing that they're most likely can get them in undrafted free agent territory. But Tajay Brooks, Texas Tech, going into his 5th year, coming back. I think he is just a jag personally. 5'10", 230 pounds. He's never averaged more than 5.4 yards a carry through seasons. Has some good ability. I'm looking for his 3.4 yards after contact. Yards after contact is a stat that I like because it shows you just the ability to, get guys off you and continue to get yards after contact, right? You need that physical strength to do that. So, but again, Tajay Brooks, 5th-year player, most likely a day 3 pick in the back end of day 3. Raheem Sanders, 6'2", 242 pounds, Man, this guy has been an overrated Devy prospect for years. I've never been a fan of Raheem Sanders. 242 pounds. It's kind of like Braylon Allen in the 2024 draft class, who I wasn't a fan of either. If you watched my content before the draft or was a subscriber to my dashboard, just wasn't part of, he's just really big, right? I don't know if the NFL really wants big running backs anymore. I think they're looking for maybe mid-sized guys and more explosive guys. Now, Raheem Sanders apparently came back to Arkansas. He's going into his 4th year. He is going to, apparently has lost some weight back in the 230s, which is probably good. But I'm going to need to see a lot. He averaged 3.4 yards a carry last year, which is maybe not fair. He was banged up with a bad ankle. Before that, he averaged 6.6, and as a freshman, it was 4.9. But he's just not that explosive player. And he only had, he has caught the ball out of the backfield, but he's not a prolific passer, or a reception guy out of the backfield. All right. Another guy who I'm really interested in, tier 4, who might jump up to tier 3, is Jonah Coleman, 5'9", 225-pound running back. Played at Arizona for 2 years. Is transferred to Washington. All right. Lots of changes in Washington with basically the whole offense going to the NFL. But he had 5.2 yards after contact. I got a video on this YouTube channel of him. Go check that out. He was pretty explosive on some games. Decides to go and, play at a different university. He's another guy I'm going to circle and see if he can't really make a name for himself. But Dylan, the kid coming out of Washington last year, some people really liked him. He wasn't even drafted. Not the best school that develops running backs, but that's why I got him here at the in tier 4 at the end of day 3. All right, a couple more guys. DJ Giddens, 6'1", 212 pounds from Kansas State going into his true junior year. Solid 2 years, averaged 5.5 yards a carry through 2 seasons. Caught 29 passes out of the backfield. He's a good all-around player. I just don't see a huge upside with him, but I have to be honest, I haven't watched a ton of film on him. He's a name that I'm probably going to spend some time on this spring and early summer to get a good look at him before he, starts playing in the fall. But here's where I got him. He may be a tier 2 guy. He might be closer to an early day 3 than a later day 4. But again, I'm going to be doing shows just like this, like every 2 months, man. As I watch more film, I'm going to be doing shows just like this, and I'm going to show you where these guys are moving up and down. But here's going to be my baseline show for this, okay? 2 more guys we want to talk about before I let you guys go. Roman Hemby, 6'2", 200 pounds, good all-around player. Again, I just don't see huge upsides going into his 4th year at Maryland. Seeing him on some lists on PFF and The Athletic of, a potential sleeper. Got to watch more film on him. Good pass catcher out of the backfield. He caught 37 balls last year, 32 the year before. Averaged only 4.9 yards a carry. Only had 4 TDs last year. But the year before that, he was pretty productive. The last guy I want to talk about, Jaden Blue, Texas running back, 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's had to wait his turn. He's going into his true junior year, and he's going to be competing with carries with C.J. Baxter, who is a player we're going to talk about next year, just like Justice Haynes from Alabama, that, will be on this show most likely at the top of the list. But C.J. Baxter, high recruit, again, had to wait behind Roschon Johnson, Jonathan Brooks, and everyone's waiting their turn in Texas because they keep getting these great running backs. So, but Jaden Blue, man, he flashed at the end of last year, man. He didn't play a whole lot last year. He got 46 carries on the season because of where he was on the depth chart. But when Jonathan Brooks tore his knee, he got some run and looked pretty spry and explosive out there. So I put him all here at the end of my top 20 as a guy that I'm going to be keeping an eye on that might have the ability to rise here as we continue on through this process. All right. So that is it, guys. That is my top 20 running backs for you to keep your eye on. Things are going to change. It's early. This, YouTube channel is dedicated to doing shows just like this, getting you an early look at the 2025 and future classes. Like I said, I'm doing 2027 film breakdowns. We're going to be doing film breakdowns on 2026, guys, and doing all sorts of shows getting you ready early for your 2025 NFL draft. So again, if you want to check out my dashboard subscription for a 2-week free trial, it's only $25 a year. It's like buying me a case of Miller Lite. Be happy to give it to you. It's really cool. I suggest you hit me up for a 2 weeks trial subscription. I think you're going to like it. So leave a comment too, man. Let me know, who do you think I'm too high on? Who did I miss? Who should be on this list? Who's not? Love to hear some of your guys' thoughts out there because things are going to change. All right. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it. And again, I'm going to do a QB show, wide receiver show, and a tight end show as well. Thanks for watching.